Hello and welcome to Control Delete Tutorials. My name is Jason and today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way that we can make a chain in 3D Studio Max. So this would be like making a chain and chain links, and we're going to use the array tool. So to start this out, a very simple way for us to make a chain is we can start out with a torus, and I'm just going to go into the top view and I'll turn my snaps on, and I'm going to create something kind of like that. So my radius here, I'll just type in 15. And my second radius, which controls the thickness of this, I'll set that at 5. And then the sides. So usually with chain links, we don't want to have millions and millions of polygons. So we'll just make our sides 5. And then I'll probably just set this to 8 should be good. So what I'm going to do is convert this object, convert it to an editable poly. And I'm going to go into element mode and select. And I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. And I make sure my angle snap toggle is turned on so it does that 90 degrees. Nice and easy. And then what I'm going to do is go into the front view. And I'm going to select the bottom half here and detach. And now I want to detach this as a separate element. So I'm going to hit OK. And I'll move this down. And what I'm going to do is bridge. So I'm going to bridge these holes that I've just created in my mesh. Hit G to turn off the grid there. So I'll select these two and bridge. And I'll select the two over here, and again I'll bridge. Okay. And then I'm going to turn on smoothing groups. So I'm just going to clear all and set them all to the same smoothing group. And that makes them appear nice and smooth all over. Alright, so now I want to duplicate this a bunch of times. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the array tool. So what's nice about the array tool, and I don't think it's very often used or shown, this will allow me to generate many copies of this. So what I can do is I'm going to turn on preview. So I have my preview that I'll have here. And so down here under the array dimensions, this tells me how many copies I'm going to have. And I'm going to set these as copies, not instances, because if I have instances, I won't be able to put them together. So I have my move settings. I have, these are my increments. So I have my move settings, my rotate settings, and my scale settings. So I don't want to affect the scale. But what I can do is I can change the move amount here. So actually we're just going to go negative, we'll say negative. Let's go down till it looks like they're kind of touching there. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so that's nice. And that's my Z direction. And so I can also change my Z rotation. And if I type in something like 45 degrees, I'll get all the parts of my chain link. And then if I want to have it longer, I just type in however many I want. I hit OK. And that creates my entire chain link. Now I'm going to do one step further here. I'm going to show a modifier that is a path deformer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach all these chain link objects together. So we'll just select all those. And go ahead and just name our object here chain. And I'm going to create a path for this chain to follow. So the path I'm going to use, so I'm just going to go to shapes, is I'm going to use a helix. So I'm just going to go into the top view and I'll create my path here. Okay, and so I'm going to change my radius here. And I'll add a couple more turns. Okay, so this would be like if I wanted to have this coil up. Actually, we're going to have to make this quite a bit bigger here. So I'm going to type in 60, and we'll do maybe 70. I'll go a little bit bigger here. All right, 80. And I'll change my inner radius here. We'll say like maybe 40. All right. So this is still pretty short. We'll see if it covers the whole thing. I'll add in 2 turns, 2 full turns. And not for 40. There we go. I thought that looked funny. I was wondering why that was so small. All right. And we'll just move this to 0 and 0. All right. So I'll take my object, my chain object. I'm going to go to modifiers. And this modifier does not fall under our normal object space modifiers, but rather our world space modifiers. So this one is going to be Path Deform. Okay, so the first thing we do is we pick our path. Okay, that's going to load it in there. I'm going to say move to path, so I'm going to move the actual object to the beginning of the path. And I'll go ahead and flip my direction here. So right now it's moving in the Z direction, and this would be fine. But you can see as this follows here, it's going to coil that right up. Wow, I could not have planned that number better. So if I wanted to have a coil of, a chain there, I was actually surprised at those numbers there. But the other thing I could do is, notice how this is almost at 100%. All I have to do is hit flip. And I'm flipping the Z direction, so it's moving along the opposite direction. And what's nice about this is any changes I make to that path, if I go back to the path here, if I make the height different, it's automatically going to update this. Now what else is cool with this is I can also add twists, or I can add more turns. I could change the radius, so if I want this to be tighter or looser, I can do that. Now notice, as my path gets shorter, the end of this chain just extends on past. Okay. The other thing I can do is, if I select this and I go to my Path Deform binding, I can change the rotation of this along that path. I could stretch it, so if I wanted it to extend on past, you can see it's stretching the geometry here. I can change the percent, so this would be like a neat way to animate a snake. Or if I wanted to have a chain that unravels and ravels back up easily around a cog or around some spool or something like that, I can also twist. So if I twist this, a bunch, it's going to look weird. But we can also twist it. Whoops. Gotta set that back to 1. Now, the thing with world space modifiers is, normally I would say, okay, so we're going to convert this object to an editable mesh. Okay. So I'm going to clone it just so I have my other one here as a copy, and I'll just hide that for now. Okay, so if I say right click, convert to editable poly, you'll notice nothing happens. The world space modifier stays right on top. So in order to collapse this object, we actually have to right click on our modifier and say collapse to. Now you would think collapse all would do it, but no. And so I get this message. If you get this message to pop up, you'll know you did it correctly because of what it's trying to do. It's going to tell us that we are not going to be able to revert back after this. So we're just going to say, yes, we're fine with that. And now it'll be an editable poly. And so you can see here that it no longer has anything to do with our path here. So if I change this path, if I change my height of it, nothing happens. If I unhide my other one, and I change my height, you can see that it changes along with it. So that one is still deforming to it. So there you go. Very quick and easy way to create a chain and coil it up or have it ravel and unravel. And like I said, you're able to animate this. So if I if I just set some keys here and I change my percent, and yeah, we'll just go this way, that's fine. Okay, so I can have it animate that unraveling, and then if I wanted it to ravel back up, let's say I hold this position and then I set this back to 0. I just right clicked on the spinner there to set it to 0, and it'll play that animation. So if we hit play, unravel, so if we're dropping an anchor or something like that, and ravel back up. There you go. So I hope you liked this tutorial. Nice little short tutorial. You could use this for rope, you know, pretty much anything that you want to have as, you know, chains and things like that, ropes. So anyway, thanks for liking, and please don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful. Thanks for watching.